Writing a trilogy was quite the experience because it was the first time I ever did it. In this particular case, I wrote all 3 books all at once. I mean, it is like one big novel sliced into thirds. It was done out of necessity because what I wanted to, the story I wanted to convey to the reader was far too long to be one book. Breaking it up into a trilogy actually made it even harder than just writing one massive novel because each book has to stand on its own. This trilogy is told from the perspective of multiple people. Basically, it works out to be one novel per character. You've got your spittoon Nikki, a saloon girl. You've got your Harvey McCafferty, a bounty hunter. And you've got your Al Franklin, the photograph artist. There is a character that's particularly close to my heart, and that is Margaret DeMarco. I just, you know, love her or hate her, she's a very interesting character. When she loves someone, she really loves them. But in the same vein, she's a very cold and bloodthirsty individual. Scary. As a young girl, she witnessed the massacre of her family. And she is just bent on avenging her mother's death in particular. And she just won't rest, she won't die, she won't do anything until she finds that man and kills him. And the story, it goes, when she eventually finds him, will she kill him or will she show mercy? There are a lot of actual people who lived in the story, and there's people who are made up, like Al Franklin. He's made up, so is Spittoon Nikki. Harvey McCafferty is made up, the bounty hunter. But there's like Calamity Jane, there's Wild Bill Hickok in the story, there's Wyatt Earp. Wild Bill Hickok is incorporated in the story because I really admired him as a man and what he did and what his family did. They were against slavery. They actually took steps to try to rid the country of slavery, and Wild Bill Hickok himself even participated as a scout in the Union Army. When I first wrote the trilogy, everyone spoke like everybody else. Like, I mean, people that you would talk to today. And I'm like, this is wrong. So I started doing some research and I started reading some books by Ramon Adams, because this man has done more than anyone else that I could see to preserve the language that was spoken in the 1800s in this country. And it was so interesting for me to rewrite the dialogue so that the people would sound authentic. And I also looked up the origin of expressions and words, and you'd be surprised how many words I had to take out of those novels because they just didn't say them then. But writing is a learning process, and you know, it's not just learning how to write, it's doing the research to back up the writing. And you end up walking away with a vast amount of knowledge that I wouldn't trade for anything, because I really, really enjoy writing about that period of time. The only other thing I want to say is I want to emphasize how important it is for people who read, especially ebooks, to write a review, because that's how it's one of the most important ways of getting the word out about good literature, good stories. And I don't want to ask this just for myself, but for all the people who write ebooks and publish them. It's very, very important to critique